Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. And today, honey, we're going to be diving into Ryan Murphy's newest series, The Ed Gein Story. And let me just say, Ryan Murphy, babe, come here. We need to talk. Because why do you keep romanticizing serial killers like you're trying to get them signed to a modeling agency? We saw the same thing with Evan Peters playing Dahmer. Now this. Make it make sense. But I'm not going to yap too much, so let's just get right into it. Also, quick disclaimer, this series does deal with extremely dark, real crimes, so obviously no jokes about the victims. My humor is aimed towards production choices, the writing, and the Ryan Murphy-fication of everything. We're here to critique with a little spice, but also respect. All right, let's get into it. Episode 1. All right, honey. So, welcome to Wisconsin, also known as the land of cheese, snow, and men who look like they've never emotionally processed a single thing in their lives. So this episode opens with Ed in a barn milking a cow, and it's a little too intimate for my liking. And he's looking around like he's afraid that the cow is going to file a complaint against him. Literally 3 seconds later, we see this man, this professional peeping Tom, looking through the crack of a door at a girl named Adeline. And he's watching her try on a bullet bra. And I'm already like, oh, okay. So we're jumping straight into FBI watch list today. And then they decide to throw us in head first into a pit of what am I watching? Because Ed is, he has changed into his mother's underwear, tied a rope around his neck, climbed onto a chair, and is having a little solo activity. Babe, hello? Like, are you okay? And then his mom walks in, and instead of, acting like a normal human being, she reacts by reading a Bible verse to him while he is standing naked in their dining room. Also, can we talk about the fact that this man is way too fine? Like, Ryan Murphy, sweetie, we will be checking your Google search history after this because you are not beating those allegations. After she's done with this some kind of humiliation ritual, she drops the line, "Only a mother could love you," which becomes like her favorite catchphrase, like she's trying to trademark trauma. And also, let's also address Ed's voice. That shy, soft mumble. That was a creative choice. And honestly, it made me feel weirdly bad for him, but I digress. After we have left this already house of horrors, then we see Ed reading about Nazi Germany in this cute little cafe. Because apparently the show said serial killer origin story, yes, but actually throw in some fascism and spice it up. And yes, this detail ends up mattering later, so hold on to that. And then, lo and behold, who walks into the cafe? None other than Adeline, who apparently is close enough with Ed to share a milkshake with him and photos of death camps. Like, oh, okay, so she's freaked out too. Okay, great. Got that. Love that for them. Ed then picks up a magazine, and the magazine or the comic reads The Witch of Buchenwald. And this is the moment that I was like, okay, so this is the beginning. This is what started his origin, his whole villain arc. And then we cut to the next day. Ed is in the barn again, and he's chopping wood, like a normal guy. His brother Henry walks in and tells him, hey, mom is psycho. I'm leaving. I think you probably should have done that without announcing it to your also just as crazy brother. But Ed's face immediately drops. the mood shifts, and then he straight up hits his brother in the back of the head with a log. But then, and this is where my brain kind of was trying to connect 1, 2, 3, and 7, Ed crouches down to Henry's obviously body and goes, "Gotcha." Like he's infantilized. They turned him into a toddler. It's like he doesn't understand what happened. But then, because Ryan Murphy hates my sanity, Henry suddenly stands up and keeps talking to him like he didn't just get clocked to the back of the head. And this is where I said, oh yeah, undiagnosed mental illness is definitely at play here. And then we get more scenes of Ed's mother. And honey, she's at least 25% responsible for whatever is going on in this man's brain. She's talking to him about how she never wanted a boy, only a girl. And then she drops her favorite line again, "Only a mother could love you." Time jumps forward and Henry's still dead in the barn. Ed is confused because in his mind, Henry got back up. The last time he saw his brother, he was up and talking. So why is he back down on the barn floor? Ed realizes what he's done, and then he goes to set the barn on fire. But he's smart enough to stage the scene, smart enough to know it's wrong, but not really smart enough to know that he's committing a whole felony. After Henry's death, the mother has a stroke and she becomes wheelchair bound. And with only Ed there to take care of her, I don't know if this is something that he wanted, because he mentioned that he's now the man of the house and that he's going to be the one to take care of her. So after Ed brings her home, we slowly transition into the story of Ilse, also known as the Witch of Buchenwald. She's giving eldest daughter of Hitler, but with worse parenting skills. She's slapping children, shaving people's heads, being racist. Listen, we snap back into Ed reading all of this like it's some kind of bedtime story. Meanwhile, his mother is downstairs screaming her head off about going to collect rent like she's the freaking HOA. They go and they collect the rent, and she is absolutely losing her mind at the couple at this house. She's yelling scriptures, she's yelling slurs, the whole nine. And then, just like that, she dies. And I literally thought that she would be a main character for multiple episodes. But trust me, honey, she may be dead, but she is not gone. We get a short scene of Ed after the funeral at her grave, and I swear for a second I thought we were about to enter Saltburn territory. And I was prepared to cover my eyes. Ed goes home, and the first thing that he does is put on his mother's clothes, and then he hears her voice telling him, "You can bring me back." Oh, great. Now we're entering the necromancy DLC, but her grave is covered in cement, so he can't dig her up. So Mother, from beyond the grave, tells him, "Dig up the lady next to me instead." And he does, without question. And this is where the first episode ends. Now, my first initial thoughts of episode 1, the cinematography, gorgeous. The soundtrack, it's giving me Hereditary. It's giving me A24, and I love that. The dark, broody cottagecore meets horror. Most people have an inkling of who Ed Gein is before going into the series, but this sympathetic version is a little off-putting because I'm an empathetic person. I cried more during this series than I would like to admit, but then I questioned why I was crying. I was crying for the wrong person and for the wrong reasons. And it's because how they wrote Ed. I don't want to say too much about the later episodes, of course, until we get to those episodes, but I will say now that my feelings at the end of the series were conflicting with how I needed to feel about Ed Gein as a person. So, with that being said, let's get into episode 2.